Good evening, Final Fantasy Randomizer fans. This is Devious RNG, and I am here with John. John, how you doing?
Hey, Dean, how are you?
I'm excited. It's been a while since I've been in the booth. I'm ready to go. Our runners are ready to go. It looks like we have our cameras are up and ready to go, and we're gonna have a nice Irongol run here tonight. So this is really going to set off our next Irongol season. And for those of you who don't know, Irongols kind of are individual challenging, basically an opportunity for you to challenge another runner head to head and kind of work your way up essentially a ladder to try to figure out, hey, who is the best runner of just random nonsense flags. It looks like we're already off, and Greg has found Nuke at level 1. Darkmoon found that in as well, and Ruse at level 1. So I'm not quite sure who rolled this thing. Actually, I do. It was Danny. But that's a really nice start.
We got gold +5, silver +3, armlets. I'm not armlets. I'm sorry. Ringlets and pro rings. So good defensive equipment when you get the money here.
And a short sword +5 is not something to blink at. Cheap heals, cheap pures, cheap softs. I'm feeling a little nervous. I don't know exactly. Like, I get nervous when I see a lot of good things at the beginning of a run because I get this feeling that something bad is about to happen. Like, very imminently something bad is about to happen.
Yeah, that kind of makes me feel like when I'm running my duckling speed. Like, oh look, I get C off of the what's it called? The king before I even have to go to what's his name? To Garland. And it's like, wait a second, this is too easy. And then all of a sudden you run into, like, I don't know, Thunder Stag or something.
Right, that's where you get your nuke imps and your Thunder Stags and all that. So you've already noticed one thing that our runners have encountered, and that is one of our many flags that are being used tonight. One of the best parts about our Irongol setup is that the lower ranked player creates the seeds to challenge an upper ranked player. So what that means is Darkmoon created this list of flags, sent them over to Greg. Greg proved the flags, and they're running on it, basically to say, hey, I'm ranked higher than you. Try to take me down with whatever you want, and I can show you I can still take you down. So one of the first flags that you'll see here is the flipped horizontally flag, which means not all, but some/many of the rooms in every single dungeon are going to be flipped horizontally. And for something like Temple of Fiends, you'll notice that the key door was actually on the left instead of the right. And that really threw off both Darkmoon and Greg going into that Temple of Fiends run.
Mm-hmm. Some nice pickups, though, from Temple of Fiends. They got that Mage Staff +4. Definitely nice to throw on that, to use for that fight and not Thrawn. And then you had that huge Katana for sale. Massive funds for sale. Massive funds.
So, I mean, honestly, I'm pretty sure that they did not find that Mage Staff.
Was that just in the top?
Because there's a flag. And like I said, there are so many experimental flags in here. I've never used most of them. But one of the flags that they turned on was starting equipment. And one of the starting equipment flag that they turned on is random AoE caster item. So with this flag, they begin the game with something in their inventory that can cast AoE. Could have been the wizard staff, could have been a white shirt, black shirt, who knows? They happen to get the mage staff +4.
Okay. I actually like that because there's a lot of stuff early that's susceptible to fire. Or same token, it gets you through a lot of the early crud. That being said, we see Greggly hitting Provoke us it gives him an extra, option. I mean, it's kind of nullified by that, level 1 nuke. But that being said, interesting to see, Dark took the long walks for Volca. Greg took the boat. Did Dark not check the what's it called? The vault?
The key lock?
Sorry. Yeah.
He might not have. Oh, you know what it is? This is an Oops All Loose flag set. There, if I remember correctly, hold on, I'm scrolling up all of these flags. Nope, Canary Locked is one of the locations. I was looking at an old flag set. So yeah, it looks like Darkmoon decided not to check the Canary Locked box and never picked up the ship. So that's probably going to cost them a little bit of time, as Greg definitely got here a little early and has that Invis +2 because we have mixed spell books on for this flag set. And I didn't see what was it. Oh, Fire 3 and Lock 2 over in the white magic.
Oh, Mohawk dude, get out the way.
Yeah, I don't think NPC Guillotine works on any of those NPCs in Provoca because they have more than one line of text, one for before the pirates and one for after. So unfortunately, Mohawk Man is one of those NPCs that can just get in your way, and there's absolutely nothing that you can do about it.
I can't remember who told me, but somebody I was in a room with once told me that Mohawk Guide actually cost them a run. Like, he blocked them with enough time and they tallied it at the end of the run. They said that caused them the loss. I was like, are you kidding me, Mohawk Man? Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a troll.
There's a reason they made NPC Guillotine in the first place.
I thought that was mostly for bats, but hey.
Well, it was for bats. But Mohawk Man is showing you its value as well.
Okay.
I do want to draw your attention to Darkmoon's screen. If you noticed, and Darkmoon notices at the moment, and he's pondering, that...
Oh, God. Bro.
The look on his face. That was amazing.
Let 3 rolled 62 damage on the back row page. He's laughing. He knows.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Well,
all right. So there's a lot that just happened right there. So I'm laughing at him laughing. Monster in a Box is on. There are 40 boxes. Like now we can actually choose exactly how many boxes have monsters in them. Sorry, he's still laughing. That's cracking me up. But a couple of the things that they've added since the beginning of the spring tournament has been an indicator to show you which boxes are in fact Monster in a Box boxes. So if you see a treasure chest with a red X, I say red, it's just whatever the brown color of the box is. If you see an X on the top right corner of the box, what that means is that is a Monster in a Box box. So you know ahead of time what that encounter is going to be. Or sorry, the fact that you will get an encounter when you open that box. The other Katana +4.
And there are no benefits.
Ooh, this is a really, really nice early tile, assuming they don't have Sleep Touch, which they do, unfortunately.
If you need early turn order.
The other thing that we found out, you'll notice that the monster in that particular box happened to be Warmech. One of the other flags that they turned on is the Warmech Defender of the Masamune flag, which means Darkmoon knows that the Masamune is inside of that chest. 100%. And he knows where to find a Warmech that he can grind off of to get a massive experience boost that Greg is unaware of. So I'm not sure how much that's going to affect us right now. The Life and Cure 4 in Black Magic is definitely something that we're excited to see if we're one of these runners. But yeah, that actually might give Darkmoon a very big endgame edge.
Good knowledge. Did I not see him pick up Fire 2 on Black level 3?
He might have. I mean, if I was running this seed with what we've seen so far, I'd have my fighter with that mage stick and my black mage with all of that casting magic, so that both of them can hit that AOE. Ooh, warp at level 4 is a good look too. So like they're in a very strong place at the beginning of this game, and now it's really going to matter routing and execution. They have nuke, they got fire 2, they have life, they have cure 4. I mean, yes, they're a little bit handicapped with having a fighter and a black mage, but they've got a lot of early gear and a lot of early equipment and a ton of early money from those 2 katanas that they could really do. They could do a lot of damage already.
Oh, this horizontal flip is definitely giving me some. I would like to see. I've seen 2 pro rings already drop, so a little bit of nice early game protection.
Yeah,
I have to go back and buy them.
Yeah, and we even talked about in Canaria, we already had like gold bracelets and like strong silver armor that's there. The fact that we got the 2 katanas means that we have a pretty good white shirt +2 in top of marsh. A pretty good potential for buying some. Oh, Darkmoon already showed he bought a silver +3 that he just equipped to his black mage. And Darkmoon found the incentive item. So Darkmoon is picking up a ton of time here.
Oh. Greg went down. Dark got everything. Mm-hmm. All right, that's fair. He's got the incentive item. Greg finds the other incentive item.
Wait.
So they're 2 in here.
Ooh, I'm looking at more flags. So, let me just walk through our incentive items because, again, there's a lot of stuff going on here. And, we're kind of walking through all of this together. And again, it's one of my favorite things about our Irongol series is that you see so many different aspects of this randomizer. You really never know what to expect. So, we have incentive locations are every incentive location in the game except for the Cardia Islands. Yes, I said Cardia Islands because our devs have recently put in a Cardia Island incentive location, as well as a potential Cardia Island dock, which is off, but it's there and could show up in a later Irongol match sometime in the future.
We got Dark Nope out of the March team. So that's a thing. Greg has the TNT, Dark has the ruby. Does Greg go back to top level and find that ruby after, I saw Dark go out and stay, so I was like, well, maybe he's going to go dive at the top and go back and check the bottom. But I'm hoping that TNT isn't getting anything, because he left that.
Yeah, I mean, I see Greg's still in bottom. He found a second Mage Staff +4. I'm curious to see if Greg's gonna actually stay, like, I don't know if he's gonna stick around here or if he's gonna check Marsh top. It looks like he didn't have some of those warp charges that were at black level 4. But what we do know is Darkmoon forgot that Marsh locked was incentive, or thought that there was a random Marsh item and didn't have locked as a separate one. He also looks very confused about what's happening in Melmond right now, because that's yet another flag, which is the random vampire attack flag. Vampire attacks random town is what it's called, which means that there is a town in the game that does not have a clinic or item shop. In the original Final Fantasy lore, that's because the vampire attacked Melmond. However, it's going to be some other random town. It could be, I mean, we already saw Provoca, but it could be Crescent Lake. It could be Onrak. It could be Gaia. We have no idea which one it's going to be, but at some point these runners are going to encounter a town that is missing an item shop and a clinic.
Okay, so Dark's taking this Ruby, putting his bets on this. Greg is going up and grabbing top, so he is going to be one key item ahead. Light Axe, your Earth Access.
Yeah, this is very, very unfortunate for Darkmoon. In terms of incentive items, I can say that we have 5 duds, so there is a possibility that the item that Grave found was a dud. It looks like the Sarda item was a dud.
For the house.
Yeah. So, yeah. Again, this is one of those things. I didn't see if the TNT actually turned into anything, but I do like the fact that Darkmoon is following this Ruby route that gave him the rod, and he's going into Earth, which also has an incentive item. And so, again, there's so many different things that could happen. This TNT play could be in Darkmoon's favor or Greg's favor. We're just not going to know until Greg makes his way up to Dwarf Cave.
Greg lost his Black Mage early, Stun Touch, and trying to get away from these zombies. In here, it's actually probably better for him to throw out this Mage Stick, try to get away. Because he's just not getting turnover. There we go.
Yeah. Well, and I think he's on his walk back. Yeah, he's on his walk back, so it would be very bad for him to wipe here. Getting that same pattern again. Yeah, I like Greg's decision to just throw out the Mage Stick. Don't even try to run. Just throw it out, and hope he can get to the other side of it.
Yeah, he did save before going out and getting going back for the Ruby, so that's at least a good thing. Looking over here, and we got these gargoyles. Everybody hates gargoyles. Everybody hates both gargoyles. So this is nothing new.
Oof.
Well then,
yeah.
That's why you definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
A very clear example of why we hate gargoyles.
Because they appear in big packs, and if they roll a bad script, you're usually not getting anything good. But you're not getting away.
Yeah. Well, and they show up in a number of different locations. So, hopefully, turned around Earth 2. This is a very confusing floor to begin with, and when it's flipped horizontally, yeah, it's definitely a trial.
So, Gregory looks like he's taking the Ruby first. He's got his bow. He did the TNT. However, Dark finds new loot in Earth 2 and a Sunsword +6. Woof.
I mean, I think that Flame +3 and that Sunsword +6 kind of outweigh the excitement of the canoe. Like, the canoe's great and everything, but man, that Sunsword +6 is going to be the end game weapon, and like honestly, that's probably your war mech killer if you actually want to try for that Basamoon and get all of that extra experience off of it.
Yeah, that is a nice roll on that Sun. But yeah, as you mentioned, the Flame Steel +3, that's some serious defense, and maybe I'll speak here. Does that knock down damage from Blizzard? I know it does for like Ice 2, Ice 3, but does it knock down Blizzard a little bit?
I think it's any spell of that element type. I can't. One of the things I never remember is whether the flame shield blocks flame or ice. I can
it blocks ice. Yeah,
It
it's
blocks
always
ice.
Mhm.
Cool. Good to
Because
know. So it blocks the other one.
yeah, it's irritating because you find the flame shield and the flame sword in Ice Cave in the vanilla, and you find the ice sword and the ice shield in Gurgu in the original. Like deep when it's like, oh hey, would have been nice to find them in either the opposite or before you go in there, but no, they're like deep within the places that they're actually useful.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Hey,
That
I
was
learned
one of the
something.
things that annoyed me really hard about the original. Just like pick
I
something good
actually,
before I go in there.
you know what's funny about the original? I did just look at our fun percent flags. There's actually flags where you can go back and slow down the screen transitions and like put some of those vanilla things back in the game. It's one of those like, okay, I'm glad that they're there for like nostalgia's sake, but man, am I glad we don't have those slow transitions anymore in this particular speed run.
Nope. Yeah, I did enough of those. Yeah, I cut my teeth on a lot of on the original, and I mean, same with keys. I mean, we would spend hours on hours of our weekends, on them all our way through the original game, and um, there for those who I use his name shortening. My younger brother, we played the original all the time together, and oh my gosh, I mean, after a while, you know it by the back of your hand, but there's always the terrible RNG in the original. It's just because spells didn't work and monsters were nasty and they broke through things that were supposed to defend you, and finding the randomizer and fixing some of those things is like go back to I can't. Oh.
Yeah. So in chat we do have Czar pointing out that both of our runners decided to nope out of that Thor hammer in that first floor of Earth Cave. I mean, which makes sense to me. The Thor hammer casts lit 2. It's not. It does some damage. There's very few things that resist it, but I don't really think it's worth the couple seconds when you have a Sun Sword plus. Well, actually, they didn't have the Sun Sword at the time, but when you have Nuke and you already have the Mage Stick, I don't really think there's a reason to keep it around.
That's a very good point. Lit is like a jack of all trades AoE. If you get Lit 3 early, obviously in level 1 area, level 1 or level 2 black, you always grab it because it's a great spell. The Thor hammer really loses luster unless you get it like you said, you go and find it TC, dwarf play early on, or it's in lower left or upper right. Sorry, upper left, left. That's about it. Afterward, really not great.
Yeah.
We were even an orb lit. Darkmoon took out lit while we weren't even fighting.
Yeah. Well, and not on like, and it probably kind of took you by surprise because there was an ogre that was sitting on the screen. Yet another one of our flags that are on, which is alternative fiends. So there is a list of alternative fiends with their own weaknesses, their own strengths, their own scripts, often based off of some like mythical characters, mythical creatures that have been added in to kind of create some more randomness amongst the fiends and still be at that fiend level of difficulty. And you'll also notice that Darkmoon now has a white mage, because another flag that was added is gated. New characters gated by fiends, which means after every fiend, they have a possibility of picking up another random character from a random class. Well, and I did notice as I was kind of ranting about that Greg picked up the opal bracelet. It was in that very first chest in Earth 3, and Darkmoon skipped all of those chests. So Greg has one of the best defensive items in the game. That being said, if Darkmoon's able to pick up that that gold 5, it kind of negates that out. But at least for the meantime, Greg has a great set of armor on that black mage.
Yeah, I don't have the plus in front of me, but would a plus 5 gold bracelet would surpass a standard opal, correct?
Yeah, the way I usually think about it is that at least in terms of like the gauntlets, a plus 5 essentially puts you at the next level. So that would be an increase of 10 damage, some percentage of evade, and yeah, I think a gold 5 is better than a vanilla opal. Though chat can feel free to correct me if I'm wrong.
This Earth 4 being backwards is messing with my head. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought there Earth 2, but this one is
Yeah, I find it interesting that Greg's taken the time to open up these chests down here in Earth 4. Darkmoon decided to skip all of that, and now he's making significant progress. Prioritizing putting some magic on that white mage, but this is really costing Greg a huge chunk of time.
Yeah, picking up. Oh, now he sleeps on the top. That wastes a turn. Did Greg see wall at level 3 white? Because Dark specifically went back to get it when he got his white mage higher, and that's really nice because now you don't have for your ribbon.
Yeah,
it's a reasonable enough level where you're going to get enough tasks to get you through in a day.
Yeah. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I wonder if that played into Darkmoon's decision to not open those chests down in Earth, just because there was so much. Like if he it seemed like he already checked all of those magic shops ahead of time. So if he's like, hey, look, I already know I've got wall. I don't have to worry about any of this. That's gonna save him a huge chunk of time.
Oh no, we got mute touch on these. I can't remember if these are inspectors, and they muted both of Greg's guys, and both of their uses. They get away.
Wow.
Toxic prevented by the pro ring.
Oh.
Yeah.
Smart.
Same Greg's bacon. Like he was in the frying pan. He got away.
Yeah, there's a lot of ugly stuff down here in Earth Cave. I think Darkmoon got through relatively unscathed, but yeah, the more time Greg's spending down here, the scarier it's getting.
And the reward he's getting for cleaning out all these packs is really not worth it. It's like if he was running into, I don't know, we had Randomizer, an Randomizer flag on, and he was getting packs of like metal slimes that you could double up your mage stick and getting thousands upon thousands of experience. It'd be great, but getting green giant packs are probably your best, and maybe those multiple mummy packs. All these beasts and ghosts and the werewolves and the grimps, not doing much for you. The return on investment is rough right now.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And we have Darkmoon, just picked up his chine from Crescent Lake, and it looks like he's on his way south to Onrak. Actually, is he going sky? No, he's heading right. It looks like he's gonna head to either Onrak and Waterfall, or he's gonna head over to Ordeals. I think the big question right now is what's that TNT? Because if that TNT is a dud, then Darkmoon is in great shape. If that TNT turns out to be important, I think it's going to be a very long time before Darkmoon goes back to Marsh.
Interesting. Oh, you're absolutely right. There's that ogre, Asura. Know that name's important from somewhere, but I don't remember.
Ooh, Greg finding the Oxyale in the vendor or the Oasis, and Darkmoon, or sorry, Greg is just pouring nukes and hits into that Asura, and it's showing how tanky it's gonna be. Yeah, I think I have no idea what to expect. I don't actually know the full list of. Oh God, is this a backwards waterfall?
Hmm.
I love.
This one doesn't scare me as much. What week was it? I can't remember if it was an async week or a duckling week. Duckling week, but they had like a procedurally generated waterfall, and like the first one warped my mind, and then I was like, okay, no, calm down. And now I see it, I'm like, whatever.
Well,
but
actually,
it's not fun.
One of the things that gets me the most, I was playing a lot of runs with Proc Gen Waterfall, and you get so used to Proc Gen Waterfall that you, like, when I encounter the vanilla waterfall, I would get stuck for like 10 minutes because I didn't recognize it was the vanilla waterfall, and you always go up and right. Like in Proc Gen, you always go up and right, and so with vanilla waterfall, which is up and left, I got lost forever.
Here we go. Lazy dwarf.
Lazy dwarves. So we got Darkmoon tearing through the waterfall. Greg opening up all of these chests down in dwarves, and now we got to figure out what this adamant is. Oof. yet another fetch quest.
Oh, darn it. Robot.
Yeah, the dud from the robot is bad.
But you have
I think we still have warp.
Mm-hmm.
The big thing is, okay, what's Astos going to give us? The herb. It looks like it's going to be a while before we figure out exactly what this fetch quest is going to get us over to.
At least it's close proximity fetch quest.
Yeah.
Dark is going to grind that zombie D for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually. I like that.
Yeah,
that Sun Sword is gonna make it happen.
Yeah, he's dealing out a ton of damage. Okay, so here's one of the other flags that's on. One of the other flags that's on is that nuns get experience. So the fact that Darkmoon and Greg have a nun in their party means that they're getting a third, a quarter less experience than they should be getting. So if you're wondering, well, he has 3 party members, why was that zombie D giving so little experience? It's because that experience is being broken up into that nun. So that's really going to come into play of when do you grind and how do you grind, because they're getting less experience than they normally would in every single one of these encounters.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Greg is not taking that herb quite yet. I think he's gonna go and outfit him. I think he's outfitting his white mage.
Yeah, it looks like he's doing the play that Darkmoon made earlier. He's just doing it. I mean, he got the white mage a little bit later and had that TNT turn in. So he's gonna do all of that while Darkmoon checks out his black magic and white magic here in where is he? Onrak, and then he'll figure out how bad Seafloor is gonna be. Oh, I do have something about this. The Sea Shrine has a random item before gating, which means if I understand the flag correctly, it means that the incentive item cannot be in TFC. I think that's the only thing that means.
Yeah. Any open chest outside of TFC. All right. Here comes Herb. Let's see where that thing leads.
Don't be the crystal. It's gonna be the crystal. I feel it.
No,
a tent.
God. Oh no. Oh.
Wow. That is a huge play for Darkmoon here. And
You're asking.
All right, so now let's observe Greg's gestures. He's doing the hand over the forehead. He's feeling the pressure. He's feeling the sweats. Meanwhile, Darkmoon is already in Sea Shrine and found a ribbon as well as a Vorpal +2 in the Mermaid incentive location. Darkmoon's got to be feeling good. 35 minutes in, already in that second dungeon. Greg's got to be sweating. He knows how much time he just used on those massive fetch quests, and I'm sure he's running as fast as he can now.
I think he's going somewhere to get some immediate results. Like, okay, I just spent all this time. I gotta do something with it. I'm in proximity. Let me go and do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear. Yeah, backwards volcano too.
Yep. Backwards armory, like the the armory proper, like the big section of chests, isn't that bad. These hairpins, though, everything gets turned around. I think Darkmoon has the TFC floors backwards, and you see him trying to map it out. These are not easy floors to try to navigate when they're flipped horizontally.
All right, we have not all. Oh yeah. The hairpin led to a -2 dagger. Okay, we have unrunnable sea nest.
Oh, that's not good. That's not fun. I guess really the only question is if they actually have something. Unrunnable's bad, but unrunnable with an actual ability or spell can make for a really difficult sea shrine. Well, it looks like with that black shirt -2 on that white mage, Darkmoon's really just coasting through here.
Alright. Finds a halfway decent ice field, but he didn't actually need to test TFC because the gate is before it, but I guess he was going there because of the proximity. Don't orphan that test up there.
Yeah, I can feel Darkmoon just saying, "I'm doing my best. I'm trying to remember. It's very confusing."
Yeah. Ooh, metal slime tile in armory.
Well, they definitely have less than 230 HP. We'll have to see if they have anything that's kind of ugly behind them. But that's definitely a nice tile to find in this early mid section of the game. What level is he at? I think he's in his mid-teens.
Oh, there we go. Darkmoon finds our item.
Yeah, I'm thinking I think that definitely plays into Darkmoon's favor. Because had he found that item earlier, he probably would not have gone all the way through mermaids, which means he wouldn't have gotten his ribbon, or that Vorpal. So, Greg's in Volcano, was that 3 or 4? Just another one of those floors that's really difficult to navigate backwards to a vanilla.
Oh! Floater! In a flame floor.
Okay, well, I didn't mention this earlier, but now it it matters. Yet another flag that has been added on and has somewhat become relevant is the slider to determine elemental damage on elemental weapons. And weapon elemental damage has been increased to plus 50. So this flame sword, if used against these metal slimes, is going to do a ridiculous amount of damage. And it looks like these metal slimes have somewhere between 50 and 150 HP, which is very good news for Greg.
They're under 134 because that mate just hit the last one and killed it straight up. So they're paper thin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean this is really changing a lot of the game now that Greg has a floater, which is going to make him eat up some of that overworld time that Darkmoon's been using. I mean, it's going to depend on what Darkmoon finds here in Ordeals. Like, if he finds the cube, I could see him potentially trying for going to Sky. But if he doesn't find anything, I could see him going to Volcano shortly after this.
Oy. Okay, you find Tail. And Darkmoon finds Tail, I'm sorry, on his side. And we have Ilya.
Man, I like that wall cast up on that fighter. Putting out 4 hits for 164, which isn't the greatest damage coming out of a Sun Sword plus 6. Syla has has stunned the White Mage. Slow coming out, which fortunately the wall protects that fighter from. Still not getting out a ton of damage, and it looks like this thing is really, really tanky. More tempers, flash, which is basically a free turn. And there he goes, GregglyPuff, now our first runner to light their second orb. And Darkmoon is heading over towards the Mirage location. He does have the chime, and if I remember correctly, the gating for the Sky Palace incentive item is before the cube. So, I think Darkmoon's making a good choice with what he knows so far, and that he's taking a risk to try to find an typically unchecked item. But unfortunately, Woat, our tracker, is pointing out to me that the Sky Palace incentive is actually behind gating. I misread that. So yeah, thank you, Woat, just checking out or pointing out that Darkmoon isn't going to find anything here. Nothing. And unfortunately, I don't think he's going to realize that until after he gets through greater than less than.
Nope. He just realized it now.
Yep.
He's like, oh, he waved his camera's in real time. He's like, yeah, get out of the way. Brush away. It's time for me to leave. We have significant other spotting.
We've had Greg's family in the background. Now we have Darkmoon's. Like, this is lovely. I love these cameras.
Aww. That is nice. So that is you'll see. And Greg's just in the background. I can see his roll his eyes back where he's like, someone's behind me. I know, someone's behind me. Darkmoon scores a good luck kiss from the significant other. That's awesome.
All right. I feel like Greg has switched over from like nervous sweats to super focused.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like he feels confident that he picked up that floater, still feels like he needs to make up some time. It seems like Darkmoon is very excited that he hasn't run into anything like particularly bad. He hasn't found any dud items. He's found some great weapons and armor. And
Ruh-roh.
yeah, Kareebs with rub.
Well, we have life, so this is more of annoyance than anything. But
Yeah.
Dark is checking Ice Cave first. So Greg obviously grabbed Floater out of Volcano, and that was that was nice. He grabbed that because of proximity.
Right.
He's gonna get the dud here and feel kind of bad. If Ice turns into a dud, it allows Greg to get some stuff. If Ice is important, Dark trying to keep that slice of time that he's got on Greg. Or
yeah, I mean, there are no weapons that are in our incentive pool. It's just the standard key items, floater, canoe, ship, canal, and tail. So really, what Darkmoon's looking for, I mean, I think it's only the cube and the floater are the only two things for, and I guess the crystal's the other thing that we haven't seen. He has the bottle, but he can't turn that in until he finds the floater, and he's not going to find the floater until he goes to Volcano. Well, the other thing I just realized, he's not going to know if there's a dud here until he opens every single chest.
Yep.
So, like, normally, if you find, like, the tail and you don't want it, you can just leave early. We're not gonna know until Darkmoon opens that very last chest in the last room of ice. So meanwhile, Greg heading to Sea Shrine, making up some of that lost time. He's doing the first two boxes. He's gonna find that bottle immediately.
Ooh.
And I doubt he's going to go over to Mermaids, which means he's not going to find that ribbon and he's not going to find that Vorpal.
Yeah, I guess that Vorpal was a +2. I mean, it's nice for the crit, but I'm taking that Sunsword +6 over that. I honestly think I still would take a standard Masa over Vorpal 2. And you clearly see the other character that he was able to recruit was the Black Belt. So, the Vorpal, having that Vorpal is not like, if it was a, promotable thief, okay, throw that on him. Having probably, since we've torched you already, the +4 katanas. But the ribbon is the only thing out of that pack that I care about right now.
Right.
Wall negates it a little bit, so it's nice to have. It's one less wallcat to have out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think, especially with the sun being +6, the only thing I would think about would be like Tia 2 and Chaos, just because crit ends up mattering so much. And meanwhile, Darkmoon does find the cube in Ice Cave, so Ice Cave is a required dungeon. Oh no. Does that mean... I think that means the bottle is going to have to turn into crystal or slab, which is just going to lead to another dud.
Really nice.
So, oof. Like, again, just another random setup that is really pushing in Darkmoon's favor.
Oh, Opal armor +6. Good grief. I'll take that.
Yeah, I know Greg found the dragon armor in Marsh Bottom, but I think it was like dragon -3.
You are correct.
Yeah, having that Opal +6, I mean, plus, like, also having that ribbon, and if he promotes, I don't remember, we'll put in our, okay, so according to our notes, Life 2 is at level 4 white, so it is white locked. I was hoping that there was some potential. Oh, but he does get Ruse at level 1. So yeah, again, more things that are just happening to push in Darkmoon's favor. It looks like he's doing this volcano dive. I mean, really now it's a question of, does he do all the hairpins early or does he do the hairpins later? Some runners will like to do the armory proper and then dive down. But it looks like, just like Greg, Darkmoon's going to head and check some of these hairpins before heading down to the lower levels.
We find Echidna? Echidna? I can't pronounce that.
Well, it sounds like Echidna because that's Sonic and Knuckles. That's all I think of. But again, I don't know this full spell list, and as Greg said before the run, neither does he. So he has no idea what the strengths and weaknesses are of these alternate fiends. Doing 800 damage with a swing, and that Echidna is still standing there, another 600, still just beating up that fighter. This might turn into a turn order issue with that Black Mage stunned. That fighter's not going to last another hit, and I think that White Mage might get hit in one shot. 118 on the fighter. There goes the Echidna, but that was a very close fight at the end of a long Sea Shrine, and Greg just walking directly past that Red Mage, which was sitting there to potentially replace either of his other characters. And as Chanigan's pointing out in chat, this is a very close match. It's one that they've taken such different paths to get to where they are. It's hard to tell exactly who's in front or who's behind, but it is incredibly close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it turns out that floater really, yeah. If the path that you called out has to pick up, crystal to lead to nothing. That's or crystal leading to slab leading to nothing. That's gonna be a killer. The only thing slowing down Darkmoon is how long does it take to attack? Oh no, this is the death something. I don't let to nothing. So where is slab? Greg's getting his tail in Ordeal. He's also going to find that power bomb +5.
Oh, Slab's got to be in Sky then.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think Sky is the only incentive location we haven't seen. So yeah, true. That's going to be leading to...
Slab translates to, obviously, to crystal, or the other way around. Crystal to slab translates to side. It's gonna... That's what we have left.
Yeah. Well, and, we do have this French vanilla tail, so I think once Greg picks up that tail, all he has left is the cube, and which is very fortunate for Greg, because that's going to prevent him from going down that other fetch quest line, which is ultimately going to lead him towards a dud location. So it's really a matter of how long does it take Greg to turn around and just head over to Ice Cave after Ordeals.
Maybe a little dark side. It looks like he's taking this slime grind for a little.
Yeah, I don't think this is...
Not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea. They don't seem to be very dangerous. The hard thing is that just the amount of experience that they're getting. Again, that nun who... Sorry, Dang, if you're there. The nun, Dang, is taking up experience. Okay, well... I like this retaliation that puts me back up in first slot to get slaughtered. But since there's extra experience being pushed towards that nun character, this is just going to be a longer, slower grind, whereas Greg already has a 4th character, and if he dans the character, that character is not getting experience. So it would actually benefit Darkmoon to finish this dungeon, pick up the 4th character, dan the other characters to increase his experience pool.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. Go back for that. Go back for that, Greg.
Yeah, I didn't even notice. We got that power bonk +5. We do have it in our notes. Wote's very good at keeping us on track and making sure that we're catching absolutely everything here. That's, I mean, okay, so we have power bonk. We have a white shirt. We don't have defense sword, but with white shirt, ruse at level 1, that's night learnable. That's pretty good evade heading into the end game.
Yeah, you could have two turns, double ruse cast and 2 white shirt uses, and your knight's, evasion stack completely at turn 2. I mean, that's the fastest you can get. Well, yeah, technically the fastest you can get there. So take it. I would. I think here. I mean, the defense sword just saves you charges, but it'd be icing on the cake right now.
Right.
I like what Greg is doing here. I'm looking in the chat and seeing quite a number of experienced individuals, but if anybody's new, Greg stayed just outside the most plentiful of the islands, and check it's 2 of them that have the most pets. Didn't like either of them, and reset out, and just flew to the next one. Didn't like the other one, reset out quickly, went up here to the thing. It saves you a couple seconds rather than walking out, using warp charges. It's, you could do speed, you could save in the air.
All right. I do want to draw your attention to Greg's screen, because he talked to Bahamut, and Bahamut said, hey, you want promotion? You gotta earn this. And entered in a fight with Bahamut that went very, very quickly, but yet another of our recently added developer flags that allows you to fight Bahamut in order to earn the right to promote. And I believe you can actually have Bahamut wind up in a chest and end up having to look for Bahamut to promote. So again, one of those things about Spring Tournament, all of us are so focused on Spring Tournament flags that in the background, our devs have come up with tons of extra content for us to use, and we get to experience that here in the Irongol Heavy Metal Championship.
You know what also just on my ear? When you pronounce our friend's name, Bahamut. Or wait, how did you say it? Because that like counterintuitive to what I remember how to say it, or maybe I just made up the way to say it. Bahamut. And did you say Bahamut? I don't know. How did you say his name?
I said Bahamut.
Bahamut.
But yeah, I don't know where I picked it up. That's kind of how
I don't know
always
either. Interesting. But yeah, it's really, you are correct. There is a Bahamut in the chest flag, and I've actually seen runners post that in the Discord, in the Seeds in Progress channel, where they've had games with multiple Bahamut in the chest. It's not just because. I think those were slightly glitchy, and Greggly is going after Warmech.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting move, especially having that Sun +6. Warmech hitting 2 hits for over 200 damage to a probably very armored up fighter. Warmech putting out a lot of extra damage. I think Greg is still concerned about not having a ribbon, so I can see this as him really pushing for a ribbon play and just kind of like happening upon the war mech guarding the Masamune.
Alright. Mama plus 1.
Yeah,
We're gonna take.
yeah, that's Sun plus 6 versus Massa plus 1. Like, I want to say the Massa plus 1 is still gonna be the better weapon.
It is.
But it definitely makes you stop and think. And now we've kind of hit the moment of truth here, because Greg is on his way into Earth Shrine. Darkmoon is already in go mode, and is heading down to get his floater. The question is, can Darkmoon finish Sea Shrine in the time it takes for Greg to get to, like, to not only get down to that, what's it called? To get down to that chest with the cube in it, but also potentially pick up some extra levels in order to match up the mini grind that Darkmoon ended up doing.
Because that war mech bounced all the characters to 42. I don't recall how far Dark took those metal slimes, but it wasn't terribly long. The advantage though, Greg, when he killed war mech, had the damn poor Ale, black belt. So he was able to funnel into 3 characters rather than have war mech spread across 4.
Right.
So a little bonus. Darkmoon with his confident point. I got you, Ahmed.
Oh, Darkmoon's such a character. I love him. So we have. It looks like Darkmoon very quickly taking out that Bahamut. He's at level 22. I think, as you said, I believe Greg's party's in the low 20s. That being
23.
said, there's a strong probability that Darkmoon knows where that war mech is, and he might just pick up that war mech fight on the way over to Temple of Fiends, or probably Temple of Fiends would be the best way to do that route, just to get up those extra couple levels.
We're pointing out Greg is getting enemies. Yeah, this is actually the first time I've ever seen GregglyPuff on camera, and I'm seeing the animations in him. He's getting jumped. He just does not like it.
See, what have we been missing all of these years without having the webcams on these on these runners as they go? All right, we have. It looks like Greg is. Sorry, that was my dog. Sue me. Greg is about to find his cube in this chest of 6. Darkmoon opting to go for the Sky play as opposed to heading over and doing the standard boss order. I mean, I think it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. That being said, Sky's going to have higher experience enemies. So, hey, I can't say I love the play, can't say I don't love the play. We'll see if it ends up working out in his favor.
Now, I'm curious, why is Greg walking out? He got the incentive item, or maybe is he out of warp charges? Maybe he's out.
Maybe. I mean, it takes, I want to say, like 4 or 5 warp charges to get out from that particular floor.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I was thinking exit. That was my fault. Ignore that. I'm 2 weeks rusty on calming and so forth. I need to get my head out of, I don't know, wherever I was the last 2 weeks.
Oh, I feel you. I feel you. We're both shaking out those cobwebs. And on top of that, we're doing a run with some very, very unique flags and a very close race at that. It looks like Greg is at the point where he's heading directly to the Sky Palace, and he's gonna catch up.
Is he checking boxes for ribbon? I think that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I that's what I'm feeling. I'm thinking he really wants that ribbon.
And he doesn't know about the one at bottom of Mermaids.
Right. Yeah, right now that's the one decision that's, I mean, how long is Greg gonna look for it? I mean, he can keep opening boxes for all of the rest of Sky Palace. I don't know if I would do anything more than that. And it looks like we have an Odin taking the place of Tiamat. And Malakoth? I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Please let me know. Pointing out that Darkmoon got a hero run across the Bridge of Destiny, which is one of... Sweet, thank you. One of the highest encounter rate areas in the entire game. So that's a pretty good run for him. And Greg winding up getting a couple encounters trying to check Sky 1 here.
Oh, there's one. All
and
right.
Greg finds it.
Okay. Take this one and take this one and go. Go, my friend. Okay. So Dark has his third orb lit at, what was that, roughly 105.42. Dark is on his way back to... I think Greg is... Okay, yeah, Greg's out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Greg is... Unless he gets hit with a lot of encounters on the Bridge of Destiny, Greg is going to get to Tia before Darkmoon's able to get to Kraken. But again, it's going to be close, and we have the possibility of Darkmoon getting that Warmech fight and getting a bit of a level bump when compared to Greg. Let me check our scaling just to find out how bad we're looking at. For boss stats, we have 50 to 200 in terms of stats, but 100 to 300 in terms of HP. So we're going to get some beefy fiends in the Temple of Fiends. Stats are kind of the standard. In order to successfully navigate Topher.
Interesting. Greg has now at least had, 3 or 4 encounters on the Bridge of Destiny. Darkmoon got super lucky, got that hero run. So interesting to see the difference.
Yeah, I mean, Greg's almost at the Kraken floor. Again, oh jeez. Yet another encounter.
I think that's on level 26, though. Gregory's got some reasonable levels on him. He's definitely at that. He's definitely past that really good break point for the fighter and Masa, which is level 24. That's with a Masa regular, but a Masa +1, he probably got that break point at 23. So, for the extra important hit that you want off your fighter / knight.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great point. That 24 break, I know, especially when I was first really starting to get experience in the game, trying to figure out when is that proper level to dive into Topher, and Greg showing you that 10 hits for over 1,000 damage when you fast at level 20, fast with that extra hit. That's what you get when you know what your levels are and know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're at that point. GregglyPuff is on his way to Topher. I don't know if he's checked his heal pots. It looked like 98. So he looks good there. Darkmoon finding his way into the Kraken floor. I don't know if Greg I didn't see if he went off the hard reset or not, but he's going to be a couple floors ahead. Darkmoon getting stuck on some of these lobsters, and it's going to be Temple of Fiends that decides whether or not Greg is going to take this one and continue his reign of Final Fantasy Randomizer over the past year.
Yeah. Oof. Mages are just putting up time being annoying here. Nothing going. He got a pretty good run though. From the top, he got all the way through, almost all the way through what I like to call the badman floor. This is where you tend to find the 7, 8, or 9 badmen that if they have a script, you're pretty much toast, or if they're just hitting like small semi-thrusts, which they always do, no matter what.
Yeah, badmen always end up being a bad time. All right, so Greg is just about to make it to that Lich floor. Darkmoon is up against Echidna, which is the fiend in place of Kraken. We've already got the fast out. Considering the quad X, going for it looked like nuke, tempering up. I think this is kind of the standard strat that you're going to go for with the rest of these fiends. If we remember correctly, I think this Echidna had about 2,000 hit points. Pretty tanky, but with the weaponry and items that Darkmoon has, this shouldn't be very long. And then it's a matter of, does he dive directly into the Temple of Fiends? Does he try that War Mech fight? And what happens with Greg and Topher? Because it looks like if Greg doesn't run into any major hiccups in Topher, then there's really nothing that Darkmoon could do to catch up at this point.
Let's see what these Special Fiend version 2.0 give us.
Right, because these are buffed new fiends as well. Yeah, I mean, you can't really say that Lich is going to be a speed bump if you have no idea. Well, okay, never mind.
He hit the fighter for 9 damage and then he exferred. So I was like, okay, well, if that exfer was followed by something nasty, but the knight said, no, I'm sorry, I'm fasted and I'm tempered and I have a muscle. See ya.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the check that Darkmoon just made. He found out that he had 65 heal pots and is making the decision to pick up some magic, to pick up ruse on that fighter, and fill up the rest of those heal pots. Again, I think this is, with this kind of play, if Cure 3 coming out. Again, reminding you that these are brand new scripts for all of these Fiend refights. So we don't know what to expect from it.
Oh, there's Ale doing his good work. Sorry, Ale, if you're here with us, my friend. But that's why you bring up a Dan character. You want them to get that, free target.
Ale pointing out that he punched for 3.
And then he ate up 4 quad X's. That's a little bit imbalanced.
Yep. Hey, served his purpose. Like a true friend will.
The meat field.
I do want to point out as well, Woat, our tracker for tonight, pointing out that GregglyPuff entered Topher around the 109 mark. Darkmoon coming in at 112.5. So Greg with about a 3.5 minute advantage over Darkmoon going into this Topher. Again, that's a lot of time to try to make up at this point. It's just, we're going to have to see if Greg runs into any trouble coming in here on our third Fiend refight, which is whatever is replacing Kraken. And it's really going to determine whether or not Darkmoon has a chance to take this one. So we have Echidna round 2. Looks like we're starting with Temper. Ale only has 1 hit point to take his 1 attack. Trance coming out and paralyzing that White Mage. Ale putting out 1 damage. 3 hits for 332 from Puff. Fast does end up landing. Nuclear coming out of Echidna, which takes out Ale. All of the other Light Warriors are still on their feet. 6 hits for 500, a nuke for 132. Just going speed and power, taking out Darkmoon. 9 hits for 450, but Echidna is still standing. Temper coming out to the fighter. Puff throwing out another swing. 8 hits for 790. Greg is able to take down that Fiend with some extra life 2 casts. It looks like 4 casts of life, 2 casts of life 2 that are left, and Greg is on his way to the 4th Fiend refight on the floor before Chaos.
Okay. Greg's given Ale a couple of hit points. He's dumping some pasta to him.
Maybe he can take a spell this time. We'll have to find out what Odin decides. 2 hits for 2 damage. Doubling his hit. Oh. Well, at least he doubled his damage. Nuke coming out from Darkmoon. Puff doing the swing. Oh, 7 hits for 600, and the Fiend is already down, rolling incredibly low on its hit points. Greg getting a Irongol casting slow.
Oh, the token Irongol right before Chaos Floor.
Yeah.
It's, hey, it's my tournament. I gotta show up.
And here we go. At 1:15, Greg is standing on the doorstep of Chaos. It's going to come down to this fight. How Greg ended up managing it, what types of spells and skills does Chaos end up rolling. I like this slow decision. Check your armor and equipment, putting that ribbon on Puff to make sure that his fighter is going to have the maximum amount of defense. Deciding to wait with Ale, the last fast cast coming out from the Black Mage, and a power bonk coming out from Puff. Temper coming out from Deng. Fast, and let's see what Chaos does. Punches out Darkmoon as its first attack. Lit 2 comes out, not going to do too much damage. Temper going off to Puff. Puff swinging 9 hits for almost 2,000 damage, already taking it at most 1/3. 8 hits for 1,500, and in 2 swings, we have GregglyPuff maintaining his status as Irongol champion, continuing the year of the Puff as spring tournament champion, co-op tournament champion, I believe fall league champion, and Irongol heavy metal champion. Wow. What a year. What a showing. Greg, I heard the little chime which said that you're here joining us as I'm listing off just the unbelievable achievements you've had over the last year. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Feeling great. Feeling great. You guys gave a really tight showing there. So about that TNT, huh?
Yeah, right? I was like, TNT adamant. How many turn-ins could it possibly be? Oh, thanks for the tent.
He's looking out for you, making sure you had some nice shelter.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like looking back on it, how did you feel that run went overall? I felt like you were pretty tense after getting that tent, and then things kind of turned around once you hit the volcano.
Yeah, I mean, I felt pretty good about the Earth dive. I mean, it's weird. It's just different to do things differently than we've been doing for spring tournament. So it was weird to do an early Earth dive because of the rod and because, there's the potential for an item down there. Once it ended up being the canoe and then I did all the other things, I was like, well, I can risk it in ordeals and, the southern or the northern continent ordeals and go into waterfall and stuff like that. Or I can hit up Volcano and Ice Cave, and I'm like right here. So I was like, well, let me go to Volcano. There's tons of chests there. There's still plenty of items I can pick up for my parties. And once I got the floater out of there, I was pretty happy. I felt pretty good about that. Then I started not feeling so great once I lost location that cube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly, I think it was that Volcano play that ended up really being the turning point. Like, we could see it on your expression on the camera and in your play. But Darkmoon actually last location the floater since he had gotten that early ruby. he checked Sarda and then went down and did Waterfall and Ordeals before heading over to Volcano. And just that extra overworld travel, I think is what ended up making the difference in this run. But it was definitely, especially he went Marsh top first and ended up picking up that ruby and forgot that there was a Marsh locked incentive. And for the first half of the match, it was essentially, what is this TNT gonna do? And you know, when it was a dud for you, it was like everything was swinging in Darkmoon's favor. The second you picked up that floater, it just flipped everything on its head.
Yeah. Yeah, I just I don't know, that was a fun seed. These flags were pretty fun. They were more fun than I expected them to be. Well, not that I thought they were going to be bad. I just wasn't sure what to expect, to be honest with you. There was a lot of different things going on, and I don't know. I think overall it was a lot of fun. I thought we had trapped treasures turned on, so it like kind of dawned on me when I saw the only box that had the X on it had to be the Warmech box. So I was interested to know if Darkmoon knew the same thing. Like, that, did he get the mass out of there?
Oh, interesting. I'm seeing he did not end up getting the massa, and in fact that one chest that got you all of those levels, he ended up doing a metal slime grind for a couple minutes, which again was one of those kind of like turning point decisions. I'm looking at the flags and I'm seeing a trap chest pool size, but there's none selected for random chests.
Oh.
So I like I'm still new on like half of the flags that you guys ran today. But yeah, I guess you're right that was the only trap chest that we saw the entire run, and you made the great conclusion that, hey, that has to be massa, and that's gonna be a war mech, and I'm gonna get a ton of experience and a good sword out of this.
Yeah, it was kind of one of the main reasons why I decided to go fighter strats in the first place, because I knew I'd get the massa. The only thing I was concerned about was finding a ribbon, obviously, which is why I kept opening so many boxes. Even when I finally found that cube, I needed at least a ribbon to feel comfortable in Topher. And I wasn't sure what these random fiends were gonna do. Like, I've never played with this flagon, so I wasn't sure what these new fiends were gonna have in store. So, but
yeah, I mean, that's what we were saying when you started searching around and opening, especially in Sky, a lot of those chests. We were assuming that the ribbon is what you were going for. Darkmoon ended up going to Mermaid side as his first trek into the Sea Shrine, and there was a ribbon as well as the Vorpal on the Mermaid side. So, like, again, at that point, it was kind of pushing in Darkmoon's favor, and then when you found that ribbon in Sky 4, it kind of like swung back. And I love Darkmoon is currently doing a victory lap around around Chaos, and we'll turn back over to Darkmoon as he steps into Chaos's room to call that. John, do you have any questions on your mind as we're waiting for Darkmoon to finish his lap?
So this would be more for Greg, and kind of help me as a newer player. How did you keep your mindset out of, you just came out of spring tournament and you had all those flags to memorize, and then you flip them, a lot of them on their head, and you go to this? I mean, as you've beaten a couple of tournaments so far, you know, 2 of the time that I've been part of the community, how do you get your head out of the space of going from one major tournament to another so quickly? I mean, is it just like brain
as you're
dump?
thinking about that, I do want to call Darkmoon's Chaos fight here.
Yeah.
Then we'll turn and get that question answered. We did have a nuclear coming out, but DVS was able to stand it. Cure 4 coming out from DVS, Temper coming out from Dwight, Dang punching, 5 hits for 5 damage, doing basically Ale's job. just on Darkmoon's team. We've got Tempers. I think he threw out a Power Bonk. 5 hits for 166, doing a decent amount of damage. Power Bonk coming out, Temper onto to the fighter. Greg was able to put out approximately 1,800 in damage on his first swing. With this Sunsword +6, we'll see what Darkmoon can do. 9 hits for 1,500. That nuclear comes out, puts everybody on their knee. This is going to be a pretty close one. If he can get 2 more swings out, I don't think Chaos is going to last very long. 9 hits for 1,000 damage. There he goes at 1 hour, 24 minutes, and 43 seconds. Darkmoon coming in second place. GG's to Darkmoon. We'll get him up here. But I do want to give Greg the chance to answer that question, which is how do you keep your mind focused on so many new flags coming out of such a strenuous spring tournament?
Well,
Chance to
I
answer
don't
that
know.
question,
To
which
be honest
is
with you, I've been
how do you keep your mind focused on
I've
so
also
many...
been planning the Duck Derby. So like between all the spring tournament flags I've been doing, I've been coming up with the flags for the boot camp, and I've been running some of the flags for the Duck Derby as well, the first 3 weeks, just kind of on stream and stuff for everybody. It is kind of hard because you do want to get your mindset on one tournament. And for the spring tournament, I didn't think I'd go as far as I did. I didn't think I'd win it for sure, but I didn't think I'd do as well as I did. So every week I was like, well, I'll be out, and then I can kind of focus on the Duck Derby. But as far as keeping it all straight, I don't know. I just look at the flags, make sure I keep a couple notes over to the side just to be like, hey, don't forget that that's a thing. But I mean, I've been around for a little while now, a couple years, and I've done all kinds of different crazy flags. And like I said, I've been planning the Duck Derby, so that's just kind of how I keep it together. Just you know, try to keep some notes on the side.
And I heard a little jingle a couple seconds ago, which means Darkmoon has joined us as well. GG's,
Hey.
Darkmoon.
Thanks.
GG Darkman.
Yeah, thanks. You know, all things considered, I'm actually going to take it to come in with a 2-minute gratuitous victory lap on top of that. To come in with like gratuitous, okay. To come in within 8 minutes of like the guy who finished the spring tournament, and I'm gonna take that as a win right there, honestly.
Well, like we gotta say, and John, I'll turn over to you to ask a couple more questions because I talk a lot. But dude, that was a super close run.
Oh, yeah.
Like
you go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say you were good. Like you were significantly ahead up until the point that Greg found that floater.
Yeah. No, I knew that.
It was just like, it was all down to a couple of those tiny little decisions. But you definitely routed this well. You executed well. Your decision to pick up that ribbon in Mermaids, I just ended up really taking the strain off of picking up boxes. Yeah, absolutely nothing to be ashamed of for this run at all.
I'm not at all. Like, I knew when I saw that floater, like, you saw me pump my fist in the air because I got it, so I didn't have to worry about checking any other dungeons. Sky was off the table, which I stupidly went to because my brain misread before as after or whatever, That was one minor mistake, but still not enough to really change everything. But when I found that floater, I'm sitting there going, okay, either Greg followed a similar path to what I did, or went and tried to dig some dungeons that just, weren't going to have anything in them for a little while, but it seemed like all the dungeons, like, everywhere had something, and it had to have been, like, turn-ins and other stuff that became our, 5 or 7 duds or whatever. So the full clear simulator really wasn't a full clear simulator this time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
If it's any consolation, Wout actually had to correct me because I misread the flags too and thought that the incentive was before the cube.
Yeah.
So,
which I think I blew like 2 minutes, but I used it as a chance to just kind of route around the other way to get down to Ice Cave. So, like, long run, it really wasn't all that big a deal. I think I probably routed it better, like, as far as overworld ceiling was concerned, than if I hadn't done that. Because I would like, I'm going now, doom, 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 But no, like, when I found that floor, I'm sort of going, either Greg is on the same path I am, or he found it before I did. And in that case, he's definitely going to have a lead here, because that floater was really easy to get to. Like, if you went, the common thing is, like, with this many things open, and you get the canal, and you get the ship, you don't go do ice, you don't go do volcano. You just don't.
Right.
And in
Right.
this particular instance, you kind of had to. So, yeah. I mean, like, even my forgetting my ship was there and going and checking, like, Dwarf and East Coast and then doing Marsh and then walking back after Elfland really didn't hurt me because I got so much benefit out of those small
Yeah.
checks there along the way. So,
You bring up Marsh.
yeah.
Marsh was the difference maker between how this run went because there were 2 incentive items in Marsh,
Oh, I'm
not
sure.
one.
What was the other one?
It was the TNT.
That would.
So,
What did it lead to anything?
so the TNT was in Marsh locked, which
Uh huh.
you
I
just
didn't
grabbed
check.
the ruby and ran, and I was like, did he forget that there was Marsh locked?
No, I forgot that I had the key, which you remember I then
Oh.
went back. I was like, oh, Canaria locked. I need to check that. That's
Gotcha.
right. Yeah,
Gotcha.
no.
So Greg found the TNT, did the TNT turn in first, which ended up being TNT to adamant to crown to herb to tent.
So my idiocy actually worked in my favor.
Until Greg went, oh crap, where do I go?
Yeah.
Volcano's right here, I'll go to Volcano.
See? So it did turn things around, because yeah, I'm off, I'm bouncing left and right and clearing stuff off, and Greg, you're probably sitting there going, I need to do something to make up this time.
You know, I was the reason why I went to Volcano actually was because I just, there's a lot of chests there. And then I wanted to get my 4th party member, so I wanted to kill a fiend along the way. And so I went down there and I specifically wanted a 4th character to Dan off. Because obviously,
and to get a black belt.
Yeah, so I got the black belt, so I killed him off like in Waterfall.
Oh wow, you
And,
didn't keep the black belt?
No.
Wow.
No, that was never. I wanted a character that I could kill off so that I could get more experience, since nuns were gaining experience.
Which I gotta say, that's a really weird flag, because you go into the menu and you look at them, and your blank space is level 1, and then suddenly a party member joins and they're level 8. You're just going, oh, they were gaining EXP the whole time. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. I was wondering why your black belt was doing like 160 damage against chaos. And I guess with that metal slime grind, that was actually pouring experience.
It was. I knew that. I was kind of hoping there was a red mage or something else down in carry, so I could get a little more magic, or a thief I could just not worry about. But I knew it was a risk, but I also knew I needed about level 22 or so to go take out the last couple fiends, have some assurance against alternate carry, and then just be able to ruffle stomp Topher without needing to stop for a grind later. And honestly, it kind of worked out, because I could just pour some heal pots on the black belt and just let them do their thing, It wasn't great damage, but I think he actually managed to kill alternate Kraken, which it was there. It happened. So yeah, no, I mean, 6 minutes within Greg, when it used to be that whoever was the last person to win one of the major tournaments, I could predict I was 30 minutes behind. I'm gonna call this a win. This worked out great for me. I'm happy. I didn't win this, but I'm happy with my progress.
Yeah.
And thanks to Greg for letting me take this opportunity to race him in Irongol and not be a complete putz.
Yeah, of course, man. No, I had a really good time. The flags were fun, like I said before you hopped in. And I guess I better make the flags for the next Irongol Rumble for Season 3.
Heck yeah. John, did you have any questions for us?
No, because he has stole every little bit of the thunder. But that's okay. That's quite all right. You hit your stride, D, and that's great. I want to say I appreciate it, because this had some. I will say, so correct me if I'm wrong, or I want to ask you this, Dark. When you grabbed Ruby, you got out right away. Did you? Why did you skip on him? Was it because you forgot you had to, or was this part of some sort of Galaxy Brain play? Remind me.
I absolutely forgot that I had key, which is on me. That's on me. And I didn't remember it until I was halfway back up to Canary, and I was sitting there going, wait, I have key. I should have checked Canary lock while I was up here and grabbed my ship while I'm in here in the process. I'm kind of glad I didn't, but at the same time, what was EXP scaled to? I completely forgot. 5% per key item. Those 5%'s the what? 20% extra that Greg was getting that I wasn't from that question might not have been bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it helps a lot because he went back and did kill Warmech.
Yeah.
And he killed Warmech when he had the Dan, master at the time.
Yeah.
So it did pour a lot of extra. He had 20% over you when he killed it, plus he had one character down. So that brought him, and that did equalize the time that you spent in Guru and Volcano and got those levels off the metal signs. He brought them all the way back up with Warmech.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that Warmech right there, that's a huge amount of experience. If I hadn't found the metal slimes, I was contemplating doing it, just slapping a Vorpal on my guy, casting a bunch of ruse and praying, which is pretty much all you can do with Warmech like that. Because the Mothman would have been nice.
Guys, I'm gonna nope out of here. There's actually a tornado watch, so don't carry for me. I'm gonna
go for it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, but like the Mothman would have been nice, but I couldn't. I like. Looking at it and knowing what the blessings were, it's one of those things where you're sitting there going, I didn't want to look, but I couldn't remember whether or not the gear. Let's go look at gear and items. Exclude Mazzaman wasn't on. I was right in my guess from what I remembered. So there was no guarantee it wasn't going to be a -3 Mazza. And I had a +2 Vorpal that I thought about using and then didn't because I had a +6 Sun Sword. That thing was a beast.
Because of the 50 damage bonus type or whatever, like if you fought anything undead, it would demolish them.
Which would have been great if we had Lich, which we didn't. But no, I mean, even against Chaos, I put some fast and some tempers on it, and it was like, that first hit I got against Chaos was like almost 1,600 damage. I'm like, okay, well, I don't have to worry much about this Chaos. He'll be dead next turn. And he was. So, yeah, no, I mean... Even without the elemental bonus, that's a Sun +6 is just stupidly good. So at that point, with that plus the metal slimes, I'm like, I don't. We're fine. Yeah.
All right. I did have one last question for Greg before we switch to closing comments. Any preview for upcoming flags for this Rumble? Do you have any thoughts or ideas? Looking at all the beta flags and
I'm everybody's. Like this is Irongol. This isn't this isn't what's it called? This isn't the hardcore stuff. So I'm not trying to get too crazy here. I have some ideas. I'm looking at it right now, but it's not gonna be too crazy. It'll be pretty standard stuff because that's the way I kind of like to make flags, but with a twist. So you guys will see here in a little bit if you join the Final Fantasy Randomizer community. I'm actually putting the flags together right now, and I'm about to post them here in just probably 15 or so minutes.
Well, I'm eagerly awaiting it. I know that Gouda, who is oversees our Irongol commissioner, said he's going to be posting something to try to schedule a particular day for our next Rumble. So keep an eye out for that in the Discord. We'll get some closing thoughts, and then we'll end it for tonight. So I'll start with Darkmoon, our contender for today. Closing thoughts.
I mean, I appreciate you guys doing this, coming out like 10:30 at night to do a late night run for this on our FFR channel. This was a lot of fun, and honestly, this was a pretty darn fun speed right here. 124, even on the losing side. Pretty fleet, even though we basically had to full clear a bunch of, or quote unquote, full clear a bunch of dungeons. These were great flags, and the tweaks that Greg made to them really brought out the shine on them, I think. So, I mean, this was just a fun time, fun chance to actually try and get the crown, even if I failed. I enjoyed it overall. It was a good time.
Yeah. Greg, our reigning Irongol champion. Closing thoughts.
No, it's just been a fun year at Final Fantasy Randomizer. I've been having a great time. I appreciate you and John for calling the race here on our Twitch channel, and everybody in chat for hanging out and watching us, and Chan for the restream. But yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. It's the first time I've defended the title since spring tournament started. So I'm looking forward to see who the #1 contender is, and coming up soon, whenever the Rumble happens.
Yep. Keep an eye out in the Discord, and that'll be getting off the ground soon. So I want to thank you all for watching. Definitely thanks to Darkmoon and Greg, our runners for today. Big thanks to Chanigan, who's doing our restream for tonight. John, my co-com, who hopefully is doing well and being safe from the weather. I am Devious RNG. This is the Final Fantasy Randomizer Twitch channel where we have not only big events but also just some small casual runs happening throughout the weeks. Keep an eye out, set us a follow, and keep up with our Final Fantasy Randomizer action. We've got the Irongol Rumble happening in the near future. We have a co-op tournament coming up over the summer that I've already seen teams training for, and a lot more fun Final Fantasy action to come. So keep an eye out in the Discord, and we will see you all see you all in the races.